The One Piece remake sounds like a great idea, but it might be the riskiest decision the franchise has ever made. Because here's the problem: this isn't just a remake, it changes how people experience One Piece entirely. A new adaptation of One Piece is in development, while the current anime is still ongoing. That means, for the first time, two versions of the same story will exist at the same time, and that creates a problem that most people aren't thinking about. The biggest risk is attention fragmentation. New viewers now have two entry points: the original anime and the remake. That sounds like more accessibility, but it can create a hesitation. Where do you start? Which version matters more? Which one becomes the default experience? For long-running series, momentum matters, and splitting that momentum can slow growth instead of accelerating it. Two versions don't always mean double interest. Sometimes they divide it. A remake doesn't exist in isolation. It exists in comparison. Every scene will be judged, every emotional moment will be measured, every arc will be ranked. If it stays too faithful, it feels unnecessary. If it changes too much, it risks backlash. That creates a very narrow path, and the bigger the original, the harder it is to justify replacing it. This remake isn't just retelling the story, it's competing with a 25-year legacy. But the most unusual part isn't the remake itself, it's the timing. Remake usually happen after the story ends, after there's distance, after nostalgia takes over. Here, there is no distance. The manga is still ongoing, the anime is still airing, the global audience is still growing, and yet there is a real problem that this remake is trying to solve. One Piece has over 1,000 episodes. That's a barrier for most new viewers. A remake with better pacing and modern animation could make the story far more accessible, and that could bring in a new wave of fans. But that's where the trade off begins. Because now the franchise isn't just expanding, it's creating two parallel entry points, one built on legacy and one built on accessibility. And those two don't always align. There's also a long-term effect. If the remake becomes the preferred version for new fans, the original anime could slowly lose relevance. But if the remake struggles, it risks becoming a redundant version of a story people already love. Either way, the franchise is creating internal competition, and that's really simple to manage. If the remakes succeed, it could redefine how long-running anime are modernized. But if it struggles, it could divide attention at the exact moment One Piece needs it the most. And that's what makes this decision risky.